because the devil doesn't come in with um, black poison in a vial and tells you, hey, drink this, man or woman, you're gonna feel great. He doesn't, because you're obviously gonna see that this is poison. No, he comes in with apple juice, or or with grape juice, or with a bottle of wine, and says, hey, doesn't this look good? Here, drink it, and then, but he laces it with 0.1%, 0.5%, 1% of arsenic, or some kind of poison, rat poison. And when you drink it, and eventually your body goes into dehydration, and then the organs start shutting down, and you die, because that's what's designed to kill you eventually, like the rats. So a lot of times we think that we might make the best choice possible, but because we think it's the good choice, and not the bad choice, it's a good choice. But if we didn't seek God properly and ask him, God, what is your will? Jesus, what do you want me to do? If you didn't seek God for his peace and you just go along with it, later on you might be regretting it, because you realize, if I only chose the best option for my life and God's best for my life, I wouldn't be struggling with all of these hurts and pains that I'm going through right now. The enemy of best is not worst or bad, but it's good. Have you heard of that saying before? I've heard that said to me before, by a Christian friend of mine since I was a young Christian, and it's stuck with me ever since. That a lot of times in life we may think we're making the best decisions that we can, whether it's to marry that good person, or get that good job, take that right good business opportunity, or what we think is a right business opportunity. And because we don't seek God properly, we end up actually making a blunder of our choices and our decisions than if we have sought after God, and wanted His will. We would make the best decision, even if it didn't exactly fit with our plans for what was the best. So when people don't want God's perfect will and His plan for their lives, and all the things that we do in our lives, we then settle for the good that this life and the world and the devil offer. And this good can be very deceptive and very clever at how it presents itself in being the best option that we can take in our lives. Kind of like the saying, live the good life. Or live, or be a good person. Those are things that the world says. But if you don't really have Jesus Christ living in your heart, and you don't have that relationship with God that He is calling you to have, and to transform you, to make you into His image, you will end up separated from God when you die forever in a place called hell. So you can live a good life, and you can enjoy all the good material things in this world, and even couch it under the name of Christianity. But if you don't really seek God, and you don't want His will above everything else in your life, especially your Christian walk, you're going to come to find out that a lot of decisions you make in this life, even though they seem like they were wise, they seem at the time, because no one ever goes in a relationship, hopefully, saying, I want to get the worst girlfriend possible so I could date her and marry her. I want to get the worst job possible so that I could be miserable. No, no one, unless you're crazy or have a death wish, wants those kind of things. We all want to go into a situation with purpose and say, yeah, I feel like this is the best, gig for me. I feel like this is the best woman or man for me. I feel like this is the best church for me. But we make those decisions, and then later on down the road, we're hurt. Things didn't go the way we planned it to, and we chalk it up to chance, or we chalk it up to, well, maybe God, it wasn't just God's will, and maybe it wasn't God's will, but why did we go through all this suffering thinking that it was a good thing or the best thing, but it turned out to be just a good thing that really led you to the worst feeling because you made that decision to pursue the wrong girlfriend, pursue the wrong boyfriend, pursue the job that you thought made you the most money, but in reality, what it led you to be is a slave to your office and away from your family. Or you pursued this church that had a really great worship team, like a rock concert every single Sunday. Speaking of Hillsong concerts, but you pursue this church. It's like, oh yeah, it has everything that I need, and I feel great. The people are awesome, but in reality, they're teaching you little God's doctrines, or they're teaching you that Jesus was really not God. That he became God. I'm talking about the Mormon Church, so just a different religious cult, but. So what I'm saying is that, there's a lot of things that might be sounding good, and even churches that do have great worship, they might their doctrines might be really off because like the Bethel Church, they focus on miracles and the Word of Faith movement and all heretical teachings like praying to the dead and grave soaking, even though they have great worship. So you might thought in the beginning you're really being led into the right thing, but in reality, because it looked good, but in reality you were being led into further deception. So because the devil doesn't come in with um, black poison in a vial and tells you, hey, drink this, man or woman, you're gonna feel great. He doesn't, because you're obviously gonna see that this is poison. No, he comes in with apple juice, or or with grape juice, or with a bottle of wine, and says, hey, doesn't this look good? Here, drink it, and then, but he laces it with 0.1%, 0.5%, 1% of arsenic or some kind of poison, rat poison. And when you drink it, and eventually your body goes into dehydration, and then the organs start shutting down, and you die, because that's what's designed to kill you eventually, like the rat. So a lot of times we think that we might make the best choice possible, but because we think it's the good choice, and not the bad choice, it's a good choice. But if we didn't seek God properly and ask him, God, what is your will? Jesus, what do you want me to do? If you didn't seek God for his peace and you just go along with it, later on you might be regretting it, because you realize, if I only chose the best option for my life and God's best for my life, I wouldn't be struggling with all of these hurts and pains that I'm going through right now. And unfortunately, I've seen a lot of that in my Christian walk, and I've experienced it myself. I took opportunities that seemed really good, join this business venture that seemed really good. In the end, I ended up hating it. I ended up choosing a career that I didn't really like. And in the end, God redeemed it and he used it. He still uses what I've experienced, but it wasn't the perfect choice. And it took me years to understand this. It took me years down the road, feeling like, why did I do this? I felt, even though I had good things happen in the midst of this choice that I made that seemed the best choice, but it was just a good choice. It gave me a lot of money, but this career field made me miserable. So, and I knew that God already was offering me something else, but I didn't want to listen to it. So you might be going through the same thing. You might be thinking, well, I think this is the best option I have. I should take it. It might very well be whatever it is, but you have to pray and seek God first, because Jesus said, seek the kingdom of God and his righteousness and its righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. So in Matthew 6:33, it states it plainly. So if you seek God and the best and his best for your life, he will never disappoint you. I have never been disappointed because I sought after God, because I prayed before I acted on my impulses. No, I only got in trouble when I acted on my impulses, on things that could really cost me a lot, whether it's getting the wrong car, or the wrong girlfriend, so those type of things that happen to all of us. It has a cost to it, and the higher the cost, like, higher cost of an object, the more you're going to have pain if it breaks down, or something happens to it. So the thing is that God really wants us to seek him for the best, because the devil's really good at offering you the what seems like the best, but in a package of, this is a good thing, and that's the only thing and so you think that this is the best option to take, but in reality, God offers you the best plan, but you have to be willing to sacrifice your own initial desires, and not that God doesn't see your desires, but he knows that you need this. He knows that you need a certain thing for life to happen right. He knows that. That's why you have to trust him. The book of Peter says that cast all your cares upon him, for he cares for you. Because so if you do have a decision you have to make sure you cast your cares upon God first and not just going impulsively, because you never know that whatever seems like a good decision can turn out to be the worst decision you've ever made. So I wanted to encourage you, whoever's listening to this. I pray that this message reaches you, touches your heart, and I pray that you make the best decision that God wants you to make, because God does have a perfect will and a perfect plan, and we shouldn't settle for less. We shouldn't settle for the bad, of course, which is sin, but we also shouldn't settle for the good, which is not God's best. So I wanted to encourage you with that, and may this message really touch you in the heart and really help you out in whatever decision you're making this day. If you're a believer, seek God. If you're not a believer, the best decision you can ever make is to give your life to Jesus Christ, and you will always forever be blessed. God bless you.